Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Bensalem Township Council meeting. Today's date is August 28th, 2023. I'm going to ask you to please rise for a moment of silent meditation or prayer, and we'll follow that with a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to introduce you to our council members, staff, and as well as the mayor at the dais this evening. To my extreme left, we have Phil Worcester, who's our township engineer. To his right, we have Debbie McBreen, who is our township clerk. Over to my extreme right, we have Joseph Pizzo, our township solicitor. And then next to him, to his left, we have the Honorable Mayor, Joseph DiGirolamo. Our council members in attendance we have Joe Knowles, our secretary. Stacy Champion next to him. Over to my extreme left, we have Michelle Benitez. Benitez. Michelle Benitez, we have Joe Polari, our vice president, and Ahmed Kisselback. And we have a good time up here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'd like to begin by going through any public comments, agenda item number 3, and that was on the agenda items only. If anyone would like to come up and make any comments prior to hearing the cases, you're invited. If not, you can make comments during the actual presentation as well as in the end of the evening council meeting. Not seeing anyone come forward, we're going to go into agenda item number 4. This is the approval of the council minutes, and this is from August the 14th, 2023. We will have an opportunity to review them. If there are any changes, corrections, or deletions, please bring them forward. If not, I ask for a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 14th.
So we have a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second?
I do have a second. All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. And against the abstentions, so that is unanimous. Moving on to agenda item number 5. This is a consideration of a final land development. Edward K. Leiden Realty Associates. This is on 448 Mill Road. This is a manufacturing/warehouse addition. And this is a light industrial. As the zoning classification, the tax number is 02023-025. Okay, and if you'd be kind enough to present yourself and let us know who you are and introduce your guest speaker over there, please.
Good evening, Council. Bryce McGuigan from Begley Carlin here on behalf of the applicant, Edward Leiden Realty Associates, LP. I'm here tonight with Heath Dumack Engineering, along with Dan Livesey from EKL Associates. First off, I'm here tonight for Mike McGinnis. I believe you probably recall him being here a couple weeks back when we originally presented the meat and potatoes to this project. Obviously, we request that the matter be tabled due to the fact that council didn't have certain calculations at hand, and we apologize for not having those copy of those that night to share with you. Since that time, obviously, we do have those. I believe council has in front of you tonight, and rather than me drone on and on about the same thing that Mr. McGinnis discussed with you a couple weeks back, I was thinking that we would kick things off by sending it over to Heath to walk council through the stormwater management, the actual numbers at issue, and obviously if council has any particular questions, whether it's about stormwater management or any of the items that were discussed at the prior meeting, we'll be more than happy to address those. And then obviously I have the list of waivers here to address as well once we're done discussing stormwater management.
So if we can go to the TPD letter dated August the 15th, 2023, page 3, we'll all be in tune with your presentation at this point. This is on stormwater management.
Certainly. The items, just reading through the review letter, seasonal high water table should be identified on plan. The infiltration bed should be designed to capture newly disturbed areas. Both items will comply. Looking at the design chart, What we are facing here is a little bit of a conundrum. And what I mean by that is, and I apologize, I did bring a laser pointer, so what we have, or what we've tried to do, is keep the area of disturbance small on the existing property. There are trees surrounding this area. The least amount of disturbance as possible is what we proposed for this standalone building. Our stormwater management, based on that, is this area in here, this L-shaped geometry, and it's an underground storm system that manages the stormwater. All the water that's captured by this is infiltrated down into the ground. So there's no outfall structure. It doesn't overflow and cascade into the pool club's parking area. Everything stays on site. So if you look at this chart, the 2-year storm event, we do have, unfortunately, a 0.02 CFS increase. However, as you go through the line items, as it progresses to the 100-year storm event, we are down by 0.17 CFS. So we have improved the downstream conditions substantially.
Well, not substantially.
I'm sorry?
Not substantially. You've improved it, but
We
not
have
substantially.
improved it by 17% approximately.
No.
Close, somewhere between 15 and 17. I don't have a calculator.
Okay.
Going through the other items, following our comments related to the Township Stormwater Management Ordinance, the item 1 is a will comply, or 1A, sorry.
Now, where are you now? I'm sorry, you jumped.
We're asking for, underneath the spreadsheet chart, the following are comments related to the Township Stormwater Management Ordinance. The first item is actually a waiver having to do with the length of time that the water infiltrates down into the ground, and TPD is supportive of that waiver. And then item...
I have to stop you. You just mentioned it was a will comply. Is it a waiver or will comply?
It is a waiver. And then item B, which is page 4, has to do with the storm calc values, and TPD would like them to relate to the Northeast Philadelphia Airport gauge, which that is a will comply. And those are the stormwater requirements.
Okay, and then you have, I guess you might as well, since you started in that phase, you might as well continue on.
Okay.
Number 2, section 196-33, the erosion sedimentation control.
That is, item 2 is a will comply. Item 3 is a will comply. 3A. 3B is also a will comply. 4A, we are looking for a waiver. The minimum pipe diameter, as required by your ordinance, is 18 inches, and we are proposing smaller pipes. I believe we have 2 12-inch diameter pipes for the ballast pit, and then we have smaller, I believe, 8-inch pipes for the downspout leaders.
Phil, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I have to ask you that, Phil. I mean, that seems to be common. Or is this ordinance older than it should be? Because it seems to be commonplace to make smaller pipes and the PVC.
It is.
I'll give you a chance. Let me answer. Let him
Oh,
answer
sorry.
that.
It is something that comes up frequently, and we're in support of the plastic pipe and so forth, and better practices associated with stormwater management. So we are still preparing
An update?
changes to the stormwater management ordinance. Much of that has as well to do with our MS4 program and erosion and sedimentation and so forth that we want to make sure is captured in that. So it's been a lengthy process, but that will be taken care of. And that's why we're condoning waivers for all of these projects. It's a better
Okay.
product.
Did you want to add something, sir?
I work in pretty much every municipality in Bucks County, and just about every one of them at one point or another has this waiver relief that's requested or required.
Yeah, I'm not questioning that. I'm questioning our ordinance being brought up to date is what I'm asking. That's what I'm saying.
I apologize, where were we?
B, 4B.
Yep, okay. And item 4B, we have proposed tree protection zones for the remaining trees on the site, which is one of the reasons why our basin is a little restrictive. So that's a will comply? It is a will comply.
All right, to almost repeat what we just did, but in a different type of venue, on the same page, we have your requested waivers. And do you want to go through it, or should I go through there? You can.
We'll be more than happy to go through those.
Okay.
So the first waiver, number 1, section 201-41E3, which is a waiver to not require a utility plan. We're not proposing at present any changes or impacting to the utilities that currently service the site, so we're requesting a waiver from that particular provision. The next waiver, number 2, section 201-62A, is to allow preliminary and final together here before you tonight. Number 3 is 201-104B1, which is, you'll see a number of these relate to Mill Road, and this is the first, which is to not widen or install curbing along Mill Road. Again, what we're trying to do here as part of this development is a small addition to the rear of the property. We're not impacting Mill Road or making any changes to that general vicinity, so we're requesting a number of waivers relating to Mill Road. This is the first of which, to not widen or install curbing. The next one, 201-106C2, is to not require the 7 street trees along the frontage due to our development. And again, same exact reason that we're requesting that. Number 5, which is section 201-106C12, which is relates to what actually Heath mentioned a few moments ago in addressing a different part of the review letter, which is to not require standard tree protection zones. Now, while we are providing tree protection zones around the vast majority of the trees at issue, there is literally one tree that we can't provide that zone around. And perhaps Heath can discuss it a little bit so council knows what we're talking about and why we can't do it.
Sure. If you, and I apologize, if you take a look at the site plan, we have an existing tree that is, sorry, trying to get the laser, oh, there we go. We have an existing tree that basically is in what I'll call the right rear corner of the proposed building. Nothing we can do about it. We've tried to save it, we've tried to protect it. That's the one tree that would have to go as part of this development.
But the remainder, we are honoring the protection zones within the ordinance. So that is the one waiver we're requesting. It's a limited waiver to that one tree.
Phil, are you okay with that?
All right. Number 6 on the list, which is section 201-110B. Again, it's a Mill Road variant or waiver, which is to not widen the cartway of Mill Road. Number 7, 201-111A, which does not require sidewalks along Mill Road, for again the same reasons. Number 8, section 201-111B, to not require the minimum planting strip width between the curb and the sidewalk, because again, there's no curb and sidewalk. And I would just like to point out that obviously we're willing to
And
pay.
there's no planting strip either.
Yeah, exactly. No planting strip, no curbs, no sidewalks. But we will pay fees in lieu for the sidewalks and the curbing, obviously.
And also for the trees, for the tree bank, the 7 trees you showed.
Yes, we'll do that.
And if you have to take the one tree down?
If we have to take the one tree down, we'll do that as well. We'll talk to TPD about fees.
And how old is the tree? Is it young, really old?
It's
in
an
bad
older-
shape?
It's an older tree.
Is it in bad shape? Is it near its end of its
50
lifespan?
years anyway. I had to take 8 trees down the one property.
I'll say it's older. I don't know if it's towards the end of its lifespan. We did not bring an arborist in. Could be.
Yeah, if we were impacting more of the trees, and obviously that's something we would have looked into so that we would have had some more information before you tonight. But again, because of the fact that it's pretty much unavoidable impacting that tree based on its location, we just don't really have much of a choice. but we are doing our best to go out of our way to make sure that all of the other remaining trees remain protected and that we honor the ordinance with respect to those existing trees. So
Okay.
the next waiver, which I believe we're down to number 9, Section 201, 112D, which is to not require a minimum planting strip near the building edge and the edge of the parking area, which is directly alongside the building. So we simply just don't, A, we're not making any changes to the parking area, so we're requesting the waiver, but B, we also simply don't have the space to accommodate the parking, the width, and the access drive right behind us.
And in accordance with the review letter, TPD's review letter, we would be putting in bollards in front of these parking spaces so that they don't hit the building with the cars.
No,
Okay?
that too. Thanks, Heath, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
3 more, yeah. If you flip the page, number 10, which is section 196-31K, which Keith already addressed a few moments ago, which is to permit a shorter drain time, which is less than the 24 hours that's otherwise mentioned within the ordinance. Number 11, which is again something Heath went over a few moments ago, 196-61B1, which is to not require the standard 18-inch pipe. And Heath already discussed what we're planning on instead, and I appreciate Phil's comments to that point. And number 12, the last one, which is 196-61B1, to not require the tree protection zones, which is somewhat duplicative of our prior waiver request, which again, we're protecting all the trees except just the one.
So why is this waiver being requested twice? In one, you say not require standard tree protection zones. This one just says to not require tree protection zones at all.
Because it's in the ordinance. So because of that, there technically need 2 separate waiver requests for each of the ordinances applicable.
Standard tree protection. Number 10.
Yes.
You have to permit a shorter drain time. Do you have a specific time on that? Because what are your neighbors? Who are your neighbors? Do you have residential around you at all?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
I apologize. To the west and north of
Okay.
us is the pool club, which is only open, 3 to 4 months of the year. To be honest, it's on all 3 sides. And then EKL Machine owns the next parcel down from this.
Uh-huh.
But
I ask you that because you're requesting a waiver on the, not a waiver, but you have a longer time on your management, stormwater management, on your sheet that you give us, a 2-year design is .02 more, and yet you're shortening the time, which would mean there's more water coming out faster. So what is the time of the water coming out? I mean, how fast is it? How slow is it?
It's my understanding the storm system drains completely in plus or minus 12 to 13 hours. However, recognizing that we are not discharging into anything other than the ground. So what's happening is we happen to have a very good infiltration rate. So if we had something that was a little more towards
Clay?
state road, state road, more silty fines, you're going to see a longer infiltration duration. In our instance, we have a sandy gravel material, which is indicative adjacent to a stream. So that soil allows you to have a better infiltration rate.
So we're across the street from the stream. You got the stream on the other side of Mill Road that's going
on their
down.
side. It's on their side, isn't it?
It's on our
Same
side. Yeah,
So you're not putting it out into the stream?
No.
That could already be.
it's all going, everything we're doing is going into the ground.
And that
not-
was tested by the Army Corps or by whom?
The soils were actually tested. We did the infiltration tests. We had a certified, licensed geologist certify them along with myself, and the tests were monitored and reviewed by TPD.
Okay,
When was that test done?
Within the last 3 months.
Phil, you good with all this? Yes. Okay.
So the water that does not go off, that does not drain down, since we're going to have an extra, it's not major, .02. So which direction does it go? Does it go back towards the woods where the swim club is, or is it kind of going towards the street, like the,
The majority of the site, I'm sorry, the majority of the site does drain from Mill Road back. So it's going to go, in essence, into the stream, across the parking lot of the swim club, which is partially paved, partially gravel, and then ultimately into that stream, which is actually behind on the other side of the pools.
Why don't they change the water and ground for it?
The 7 street trees, you simply don't want to do them because they're not cohesive to the area, is what you're
Well-
saying? It's not that you can't, it's not that there's no room, it's just they're not there already.
We have 2 street trees already shown. To put another 7 in that area is going to be, I don't want to say counterproductive, but they're going to start encroaching on each other and causing problems with their growth over time.
Where did the number 7 come from in the first place?
Excuse me?
Where did the number 7 come from?
Based on your ordinance.
Okay. So then we would expect that they should be able to fit there.
Right.
Okay.
Except we're asking for relief for road widening, curbs and sidewalks, and a planting strip between the road and the parking area.
And you don't want to put trees in?
Well, we already have shown the 2 existing that are here. To put another 7, now we're talking 9 trees within approximately 150 to 200 feet, not including the 2 driveways going through the property. You can't fit the 9 trees in there.
Ms. Benitez,
You're going to pay a little for 7.
Correct.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yes.
Possibly 8.
just clarifying that those 7, based on the ordinance, we have an abundance of trees. We have this for a lot of developments where we can't, I was talking about whether the ordinance required those 7 trees. And your question, I nodded, was whether the site should be able to fit those 7 trees. That's not universal. Sometimes we have very pervious areas that there's no room to put trees. We had the same issue with Presto Tape, where there's nowhere to put the trees because of just the area it was. So it's the same type of thing with regard to that.
Okay. I'm just thinking of this being an opportunity to improve, and that would be an improvement, if you ask me, for the betterment of that area, not just your property, but in general.
So even though there's a waiver, if that's going to be granted, you will look at that a little more closely and say, well, we can put 2 trees, 3 trees, 4 trees in there, and.
We'll be
and
happy
it
to
will-
do that.
And it would work
And whatever trees
with the
we,
approval of our engineer. Is that good for you?
Yeah, I think that's a good compromise. If we could fit them, we'd like to put them in. It's just the viability, and we're getting paid for them if not. And we
Yeah.
put
Is
them
that good
somewhere
with you,
else.
Michelle?
Yes,
Is that-
thank
exactly, and whichever ones we can't fit onto the site, we'll pay a fee in lieu, so that way a different part of the township can be beautified a little bit more.
Okay, if we can, I'm sorry. Okay. And then we continue on the same date from a TPD letter. You agree to the traffic impact of $1,195.64. You're going to get your highway occupancy permit from PennDOT. And you mentioned you're going to have those bullards in terms of cars replacing what would have been the strip.
That is correct.
Plant
The
center
bollards.
there.
Yes, sir.
Everything in TPD's traffic review letter is a will comply,
Okay,
yes.
and then, so that's, you comply with all that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, any other questions?
Phil, you're good with all of these waivers?
Yes.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, I'll ask anyone who would like to come forward and comment on this proposed preliminary and final land development, if it's granted as a waiver. If not, I'll ask for a motion to be put on the floor, please. Pretty please?
I'll make the motion that we approve the final preliminary and final land development for Edward K. London Realty Associates LP, 448 Mill Road, tax number 02023-025,
How to do it.
and that we would grant a waiver under Stormwater Management Ordinances, Section 19631, and that we would grant a waiver on the Section 4, 196, Stack 91, and design criteria waiver on 4A, and we would grant waivers requested on page 4, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, with the applicant paying in lieu of for curbs that were required and not installed per the ordinance, and sidewalks that were required and not installed, and also for the trees that they're unable to make the 7 tree, whatever number of trees they're short, that they would pay in lieu of to our tree bank. What's that? Yeah, including replacing the tree that's being taken out, so we're at 8, minus in case you can stick a couple more in there. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And that would be it. Anything else, Mr. Pizzo?
Other than the waivers and conditions that you just indicated, the applicant will otherwise comply with the requirements and conditions set forth in the engineer's review letter of August 15, 2023, with the traffic engineer's review letter of April 15, 2023, and with the fire marshal's review letter of March 27, 2023.
Okay, and I'll adjust my amendment.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor.
I'll second.
We do have a second on the motion. Any additional discussion? Not hearing any. Those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? Unanimous.
Thank you very much,
I say
council.
welcome to Bensalem, but thanks for
Been here for a
staying
while.
here.
It actually looks very nice, by the way, the pictures, it's, in this sense,
Yeah.
for Mill Road, so it's nice. So thank you for being a good neighbor to all those people down there and having the front look nice. I
Exactly.
would love more trees,
We'll do our best.
but
Thank you very much,
you are right
everybody.
near the
Have a good
creek.
night.
Thank you. There are a lot of trees, but every tree helps,
But doesn't.
especially when you lose trees. It's great for the water.
All right, thank you. Move on to agenda item number 6. This is a consideration and approval of an ordinance amending the Bensalem Township zone. Oh, I'm sorry, you know what? Thanks, Joe, for reminding me. Mr. Pizzo, I should have asked you in the beginning, are there any changes to our agenda this evening? I did not.
There is one change of which I am aware. That would be agenda item number 7, the Olympus Pines Management Application, which I believe was previously continued to this evening's agenda. Earlier today, the township received correspondence from counsel for the applicant asking that the matter be continued to the council agenda of September 18, 2023, in order for the applicant to provide additional plans to the township. The applicant has granted the township an extension of time to September 30, 2023, under the municipality's planning code for the township's consideration and action on the application. So if council is of a mind, the appropriate action would be to table this item to a date certain of September 18, 2023.
Okay, so we'll take up agenda item number 7, asking for that to be tabled. May I have a motion?
So moved.
And that's to September 18th, as suggested by our solicitor. All those in favor? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? That is unanimous on, on tabling till September 18th. Okay. Now we're back to agenda item number 6. Just jumped right up there.
Good evening, everybody.
All right, and this is the, let me just bring it up to date. This is consideration and approval of an ordinance. This is amending the Bensalem Township zoning ordinance December 6, 1954, as amended, and the zoning classification for 3750 State Road, 3606 State Road, 3612 State Road, 3620, 3628, and 3634 And I'll go through the parcel numbers, which is 02079-008, the 02079-031, and the same up until 030, 029, and 028. This is presently institutional, and we were asking for a rezoning to general industrial. Now, if you'd be kind enough to introduce yourself to us and take it
Sure.
from there.
Good evening, everyone. Amy Farrell with Kaplan Stewart. We're the attorneys for both the property owner and Amazon in this case. This is, of course, the Amazon parcel at State and Winks that everyone's familiar with. I will apologize, I did have this in plan form for you up on the screen, but your computer's not happy apparently with my thumb drive, and everything's it's coming up in letters and numbers. So you do have the packets in front of you. There is a plan in that set. You'll remember, as part of the August 2021 solicitor's approval letter in connection with the Amazon development at State and Winks, there was a requirement that the 5 corner parcels, those small residential parcels, be converted, or actually all of the existing improvements be taken down, the properties be reseeded, and then ultimately rezoned to GI industrial to match the surrounding properties. So that's the request that's before you this evening.
I have a question. So these 5 parcels are going to be changed from industrial to institutional to general industrial.
Correct.
And the property next to where Amazon is, that is general industrial, Mr.
Yes.
Pizzo? And will these 5 parcels then be put into consolidated?
Yes, so you're going to hear from me again in about 5 minutes on the consolidation. I think
Okay.
there's somebody between me and this one for the,
That's agenda item 8, which.
We just got rid of that.
oh, you just got rid of 7, so even better. So.
Okay, I'm sorry,
um,
somehow I missed that that was that. Yeah, that's what I think
And I missed your first name, I am so sorry.
That's okay, it's Amy.
Amy, thank you.
Yes, so the first step is the rezoning of those 5 parcels to GI to match the balance of the parcels on the site. The second step is your agenda item 8, which is also in your plan set, which is to consolidate those 5 parcels and the 3 parcels that currently make up the Amazon site into one single parcel. So when
Thank
we're
you.
done with both of those, everything will be GI and it will be one parcel.
Or 6A and 6B.
It's a beautiful thing.
We're really, really close to the end here, I promise.
not.
You're almost
We'll
done. with me.
never be to the end on this project.
I think so. Unlike other projects.
Okay, please do.
That's
Okay.
really it. I think it's up to council to make a decision as to whether or not you're going to rezone. And then I think you just authorize the rezoning. It has been advertised. It has been prepared, I think, in ordinance form by your solicitor's office. And then the second motion would be relative to the approval of the consolidation.
I agree that we certainly know about this property and we're familiar with it. I don't know if we need any additional information. So I'm going to ask the council members, do you have any other questions?
I have one comment.
Sure.
Sorry, Mr. Knowles. We were trying to get out to watch the Phillies game. But I drive down Haunted Lane quite often, and I see the side road constantly without the things up, and people are able, not that I've seen people do it, but people are able to go up and down that Haunted Lane exit very easily, and I thought that was supposed to be a closed-off entrance exit only used for emergency purposes.
So it's not accessible to Amazon vehicles. I think there is signage there. I'm not sure what else was required. That all predates the Amazon development,
Okay.
those requirements. We haven't received any notices or any indication that Amazon drivers have been using it at all.
Okay, I don't know, I just know that it's accessible from Haunted Lane. The orange things that were there are moved off to the side, so you can get through.
Oh, okay.
So
We
I'm
can
not
certainly
sure.
take a look at that. I don't know, Quentin and I can touch
Yes.
base and we'll
I know
we'll
we've
figure
talked
that
about
out.
it before.
There's a chain inside the
Okay.
driveway.
Okay, I'm just worried about people trying to cut through and then coming back and forth from Haunted Lane and,
There used to be a chain up front,
okay,
but that chain's now.
okay.
Thanks.
Mr. Pizzo, could we do both of these together since it's the same plot and not have to go through the same thing over again? Can one motion be able to do for both?
Yes and no. This can be a single hearing. And then, because one is an ordinance and one is the approval of the lot line, we should probably do two separate votes. But to that end, this hearing can also serve as the hearing for matter number 8. Ms. Farrell has explained, and as counsel, at least those members of council who were here at the time, it was a condition of the approval for the Amazon warehouse that Amazon acquire Amazon or the property owner acquire the 5 corner lots, rezone them as is being proposed this evening, and then consolidate them into the overall property, as well as consolidate the 3 lots that make up
Correct.
the Amazon property. So ultimately, between item 6 and item 8, we're now going to have one large GI zoned property on which Amazon's building is located.
Okay, so let's, if there's no other questions from any council members, I ask anyone like to come forward to comment on this proposed ordinance change. If not, I'm going to ask, I see no one coming forward, ask for a motion to be put on the floor.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion for 3750 State Road LLC, location 3606, 3612, 3620, 3628, 3634 State Road, tax parcels 02-7-9, 02-7931, 02-7930, 02-7929, 02-7926. We approve the
28.
zoning change.
28 was the last one.
28, I'm sorry.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
Second?
We do have a second. Any additional discussion? All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? Are unanimous. Moving on to agenda item number 8. We have the same property, and now we are, applicant is, of course, Winks Lane and State Road, and we're in consideration of a lot line change. Joe, you can explain that real quick. what we're
Sure.
doing.
So now that you have rezoned the 5 parcels that were the residential parcels out front, what Amazon is now asking you to do is to consolidate those 5 parcels, as well as all of the parcels that currently make up the Amazon site, and consolidate all of those into one large parcel. It was the recommendation of the engineer and the administration. It was the desire of the council that approved the Amazon plan, that be effectuated. The application in front of you and the plan in front of you this evening would effectuate that consolidation of all of those smaller lots into one large, general industrially zoned lot.
Okay, so we had 12 individual eggs in the basket, and now we have one big basket of eggs.
Now you have an omelet.
Boom, there we go. Let's scramble it,
I
and
think it was
let's...
8 original, not 12, I don't, but yes, same idea.
I understand. It's a euphemistic way of saying what we're trying to do here.
Yep.
And Joe, Mr. Paz, just to clarify, the 5 residential houses were zoned institutional.
They were zoned institutional. Those houses have since been leveled for anyone who
Right.
hasn't driven down
Right.
into that part of the township recently. And that area has been restored by Amazon.
Okay.
And so we now no longer have 5 residents
Yes.
with an Amazon warehouse in their backyard.
I'm sorry. go ahead.
The deed of consolidation, I apologize, but I did not get it until today. So I would ask that when you, it looks okay at first blush, but when you approve
Based on your
it,
approval.
just approve it subject to the approval of the township engineer and the township attorney, so that we can just make sure that all the Ts are in the right place.
Okay, would anyone like to come forward to, what's the lot line change? So we don't need anybody coming forward, but no one's here, so I don't think anyone's going to come forward. That being said, I'll ask for a motion from our council members.
I'll make a motion that we approve the lot line change for 3750 State Road at Winks Lane and State Road that were proposed use of the existing warehouse and combining them to make all one lot as presented.
All right, we have a motion on the floor.
Second.
We have a second on the motion. Any additional discussion? All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. Any against?
That was too easy.
Abstention? Yeah.
Yes, please.
All right,
Thank you,
Very nice.
everybody. This was the easy part. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number, oh, I lost my agenda. Thank you, Joe. All right, we have the consideration of escrow release. Samarpan Hindu Temple, this is release number 10, 2746 Mechanicsville Road, and this is in the amount of $53,794.40. Quentin, would you
Yes.
like to give us your presentation since Phil refuses to get up and do it anymore?
Sure. As you stated, this is escrow release number 10 for the Samarpan Hindu Temple on Mechanicsville Road. The amount in question is to be released is $53,794.40. After just reviewing the project with the owners, we have a large amount of escrow still pending or still in the account for the project. As you can see on the last page with the chart, those are the last items that are in escrow. Pretty much what we have done is release some of the contingency items because we're still waiting on a couple of final things to be complied with that you can see on that breakdown. So we feel that there's plenty of escrow on the project to get those things completed, and that's why we're recommending the release of partial.
All right, so there's over $200,000 still remaining in escrow?
Correct.
Okay, fine. That being said, I'll ask for a motion to be put on the floor.
I'll make a motion that we release this escrow, $53,794.40 as requested, as audited by our finance department.
We have a motion on the floor?
Second.
Second on the motion, all those in favor? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? All right, unanimous. Moving on to agenda item number 10, which is a resolution authorizing the amendment of the membership of the Bensalem Township Zoning Hearing Board. Wait a minute. Oh, to include 2 alternate zoning hearing board members. Okay, I had 2 different agendas here. I want to make sure I have it right. Is that read correctly as changed, Mr. Pizzo?
I believe the agenda item, Mr. Kisselback, would be in 2 parts. One is the recommendation that the council add 2 alternate zoning hearing board members to the zoning hearing board, and if council decides that that action is one that it wants to take, then the mayor, I believe, has a recommendation for an appointment to one of those 2 seats for your consideration.
Okay, I had expressed this earlier, that I believe we should include 1 alternate zoning hearing board member as opposed to 2. And I would prefer it be 1-year term, but I can live with it being a 3-year term if that's what the rest of the board prefers. But I would recommend that we would go to 1 alternative member to the zoning board, and the time period is depending on whatever the council would like to do with that also. Is there any discussion on that at all?
The alternative member would only be serving if someone wasn't there or someone left the board, they would fill in. We're not going to be swapping people back and forth, correct? That person's going to fill in for one missing and not going back and forth. Oh, he can't make the meeting, so we're sending this alternate. That's not what it's not going to be, right?
That's correct. The alternate is not one of the 5 members of the zoning hearing board. By statute, as well as by this resolution, but by statute, the alternate serves only when one of the 5 members of the zoning hearing board, for whatever reason, would not be available at the onset or the outset of a zoning hearing. So
So
five
you are going
zone.
to flip-flop them in and out. If somebody can't make the meeting, you're going to send an alternative in. Are the alternatives going to have the plans and all the agendas every meeting?
I
don't
believe
understand how that's
that
gonna work.
that would be the intent, that the alternate member would receive the same information that the zoning board members do. However, they would only be a voting member of the board, if you will, at those times when one of the 5 members of the zoning board is unavailable for a hearing.
With that being said, I mean, I feel that the alternate member should attend the meetings. However, you just made a point which kind of makes sense to me. They should, at a minimum, receive each meeting the same information that the other 5 members have also, so they can review it at their convenience and be brought up to date if in fact they have to step in. So I think that would be, that would be
That's the intent.
yeah, administratively, that would make sense. So that person, every meeting would receive the information, same as the other 5 members, okay.
Since they do get paid for each meeting, are they, the alternatives going to be paid for each meeting, even if they don't attend the meeting, or how's that going to be done?
Again, procedurally, we haven't set up in this ordinance, or in this resolution, how the zoning hearing board would operate, whether they would require the zoning. There are a couple of different ways the zoning hearing board could do it. They could have the zoning board, the alternate present. If the alternate isn't required because of an absence or a conflict, then the alternate could still be sitting up here, listening, participating, doing everything except voting, where the alternate could be sitting in the audience, and if they're not needed for a hearing, then they're sitting in the audience. I would say at a minimum, coming into the meeting, the zoning hearing board should know either if a board member is not going to be present or if a board member has a conflict such that it would require the alternate to participate in the hearing. So I don't think it's the intent, at least of the administration, that the alternate would do anything other than be at the zoning meetings. That would certainly be our expectation as far as the administration goes. But if the zoning hearing board wants to run it in some other fashion, again, the zoning hearing board is limited in the sense that the alternate only participates in a hearing if a member of the zoning hearing board is unable to participate, either because they're not at the hearing or they have a conflict that precludes them from rendering a decision. So what happens in between those hearings, to a certain extent, is a procedure that would be up to the zoning hearing board. But to Mr. Polari's earlier point, this isn't a tag team match where somebody, taps the hand and I'm going to take this one off, you sit in. The 5 members of the zoning hearing board are there to do their job. The alternate is available to address the situation where, for whatever reason, we're down to 4 or perhaps even 3 members for a particular matter. The alternates can then step in.
Well, here's my question, and I think this is something we should consider, and I like to hear the opinion of our council members, is that they're going to receive the information the same as all the 5 zoning members. Should they have to be in attendance of each meeting, simply because if there's an ongoing situation that's being discussed and it has been discussed previous meetings, and then someone can't make it that one meeting, then this person, the alternate, is coming in really being blindsided.
Can't necessarily vote, they don't know the background from the other ones.
Exactly.
Because they're not taped.
That's what I'm thinking in terms of, I don't know.
Is it the expectation
I'm not
that they
suggesting
attend?
one way or the other, I'm just asking.
They would get all the information, as the zoning hearing board would,
Right,
whether they're going to sit in or not.
correct.
They would be prepared for it, and they have to learn, too, as they go along.
So I guess to piggyback off from Mr. Kisselback is, if, say, how we table things here, if something gets tabled and the alternate is not there, so I think to Mr. Kisselback's point, he's asking that, should they be, if they're as the alternate, should they be required to be there in attendance in case something does get tabled? Because if they do go to the next meeting, how are they able to vote if they weren't there, in a
I
sense?
think that's correct. That
Sure.
they should be
And-
here.
That's- I think that's what we're
And I
asking, if it's spelled out.
apologize if that wasn't clear from what I said earlier. That one of the possibilities is that the alternate sits in and participates in everything that's happening,
No, you
except
explained it
voting.
properly. You explained it properly.
So if something gets
verifying that's
carried
what you're
over
saying.
to a second meeting or a third meeting, and one of the 5 who was here for hearing session 1 isn't there for hearing session 2, the alternate could step in the place because the alternate has been a part of the proceedings all the way along. If that's what everybody wants it to be, then that is certainly an option, yes.
Well, the alternate does not have to sit at the dais, can sit in the front row of the audience, but still participate in terms of understanding what's happening. That would be my opinion. I don't think the alternate should be a part of the answers and questions. I mean, you can ask.
I really think that's semantics. Yeah, they could sit in the audience. I don't think anybody's saying.
Would that be up to the board to decide where this alternate would sit and how this alternate would participate?
I would think so.
So we would leave that up to the board and not dictate that, but just request that this
Again,
alternate
You're the
makes the
council, you
meetings.
can give any direction that you choose, but that.
Exactly.
And again, I'm going to ask the question, do the alternates get, it's a compensated $25 a meeting or whatever it is, are the alternates going to be paid for every meeting that they're at, whether they're on for that meeting or not? That's a simple question, and the simple answer would be fine.
I would certainly assume so, yes.
Okay, thank you.
If they're required to attend, I guess they should.
No, it's not. If they're alternate, do they get paid for the meeting, whether they're there or not? I
No,
mean,
but
so-
they have to be there, though. Yeah.
If it ultimately is decided that the alternate is going to attend every meeting, then zoning hearing board members get paid by the meeting, not by
Right.
the application, so they'll.
Right, but if
they'll-
both of them are here and they're not a part of the meeting, do they get paid? And the answer is yes. Right?
Yes.
Is that correct?
But we're changing it to one, though.
We're appointing one, correct?
No, Ed wants to change it to one.
Yeah.
Instead of two alternates, one alternate and
We're gonna
appoint
have
one
one.
Yeah, that's
today.
fine.
So make a change, amend the,
And then if we need another one in the future, we'll consider that, but we're going to do one.
The statute allows for you to have up to three. The resolution that is in front of you proposes two. I had gotten some feedback from some of you since the item went out, that some of you were more comfortable with only creating one alternate seat as opposed to two. If that's the desire of the majority of you, that is something that we can do tonight, and I can make the appropriate changes to the resolution to reflect that it would create one alternate zoning hearing board member rather than two. If the majority of you want to keep it at two, then obviously there's no changes that need to be made to the resolution.
Except for a number of years potentially.
Well, the number of years is fixed by statute.
Okay.
The zoning here, the alternates are 3-year terms.
I would, this is what I would suggest, and again, it's only a suggestion from what I'm hearing, and as I had reviewed this earlier on, that we go with the one alternate, and the alternate receives all the information regarding the meeting itself, and as far as attending, that would be whatever the administration would like.
Zoning hearing board.
Well, it's our decision. It's actually the council members, we decide that.
so our expectation is that they're a non-voting member most of the time, but in the event that they need to step in
And they would-
for a voting member that's not available, they should be voting.
Yes.
That's what we want this seat to look like.
Right, and they're receiving the information from the administration the same as all the other members. And it's up to them to read it.
Meaning
And-
they should have a seat at the table, is where I'm getting.
Well, they should be available to have the
Yeah.
information, whether they sit at the table or not. It's gonna- At least they have information available.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know,
Yeah, I don't think they should be sitting up at the
I
table.
don't think they should be.
Literally at the table, meaning at the dais, but they should be certainly in the front row and understanding. But that's, could be an option the first year where we look at it and see how it works out. The individual could be sitting up there and listening to it.
I
If you're
think,
looking at the plans, it's very difficult to be out there.
yeah, I would think that they should be at the table.
Well, that's up to
I
you.
think it's more cohesive, it's,
I don't think so, but I'm going to go whatever the board.
there's a level of accountability as well.
But
With
they're
that-
not, they're not accountable for
I
what?
think we let them decide. where
Showing
it
up.
fits.
Decide that. You just
I
do
think-
Well, I don't think they should, well, other than being an alternate, which I would think an alternate means an alternative, an alternate, I don't think they should be a participating member of the zoning board unless they're called on to do it because they need that individual to be there.
And vote, I agree.
That's what I say.
They can stay abreast of it without having to sit up here.
That's what I say.
Okay, so if we're going to have first we do the resolution, then we consider the appointing a member?
Sure.
correct.
Okay.
In this resolution, are we dictating what meetings they need to attend?
No.
No, they need to attend the meeting when an individual is not here. When there's only 4 members attending, that's when they have to attend. Oh, I see what you're saying, I'm sorry, I
You
understand
just
exactly what
said
you're saying.
that you want them here at the meeting.
No, I understand what you said.
And I don't believe that is in here, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying, I misunderstood you for a
So that's
second.
my question.
If we're just approving this as stands with 1 alternate rather than 2, are we making any other changes to this, aside from where they're going to sit? Like, they're a non-voting member of the board unless they're needed to be voting.
Right, I could satisfy my curiosity on this by having them receive all the information they're supposed to receive, and they decide whether they want to attend or not, and we'll see how that works out from there.
Yeah, because they can, it's zoning hearing boards, they're public, right? I mean, aren't they?
They're
can
public,
still
but they're
follow
not
them.
live, they're not taped. It's
Yeah.
very difficult to know what was said unless you got the transcript, I believe.
It says that this member shall be
Haven't
entitled
watched
to
them myself.
participate in all hearings, proceedings, and/or discussions of the zoning hearing board in regard to any and all particular matters or cases, and empowered to and permitted to cast a vote. So I think it's fine with that verbiage. I think that's sufficient.
Okay, I agree with Mr. Kisselback, we should change it for 1 and then see how it works out and go from there, but besides that, I'm okay with it.
Okay, you guys can make the motion, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution authorizing the amendment to a membership of the Bensalem Township Zoning Hearing Board to include 1 alternative zoning board member, advice and consent of mayoral appointment of 1 alternative member of the hearing board for a term of 3 years, and that Mr. Pizzo make the necessary changes to adapt it to 1 alternative zoning hearing board member being approved.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Second, any additional discussion? Not hearing any. Those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All right, now, with that being said, are you proposing a name, Mr. Mayor?
Are you ready for the
Yes, sir.
10A, you're calling it?
What did you say?
10A.
10A.
We have 10.
Well,
10A.
yeah.
I'm just
Well,
giving it
yeah.
for Debbie, for her.
The second part of the.
Right, it's all included in the one.
Do you have to change the agenda, or what are you doing?
No, it's part of the agenda, it's part of 10.
Okay, I gave you Steve Aldrich's resume, you have it in front of you. Steve is a longtime Bensalem guy, Bensalem High School. He's a community guy, does a lot in the community, and he's well-versed in all this municipal stuff. So I put in front of you Steve Aldrich.
Yeah, Steve Aldrich is a perfect guy for this. I mean, he's involved in the electrical trade. He understands what building is and all that thing. So you have a guy that's going to step in and already know what he's doing. So I think he's a definite plus for what we're looking to do here. Just my opinion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, we have a second.
I'll make a motion that we approve the mayor's recommendation for the alternate member to be Steve Aldrich.
Second?
Motion, second, all those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye, and against, abstentions, that is unanimous. Thank you for that suggestion. And moving on to agenda item number 10, which is the public comment. Anybody like to come? Well, I'm sorry, number 11, correct. Well, I got my old one, I'm sorry. Public comment, whatever the number is, you may come up. They're storming the microphones. And so, that being said, we'll move on to agenda item, whatever the following one is. 12. Other business. Would anyone like to discuss any other business, including Phil Worcester, our engineer?
No, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Debbie McBreen? Joseph Paizo?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Mayor Joseph DiGirolamo?
Only thing I'd say, next week's the last concert for
This
this year, so
This week,
it went great. Pardon me?
Wednesday, this week.
Next Wednesday.
It's this
After
week.
Labor Day?
It's this
After
week.
Labor Day or before Labor Day?
It's this
Before
week.
Labor Day.
It's
So this
this week.
week.
Yeah.
That's this week, not next.
Well, did I say next?
Yeah, but you meant
I
next
truly
week.
apologize for my
Not
age
attending the last
making
one.
such a mistake at this time.
No, I get
And
confused too.
It's 10B, ask Joe.
Anyway, it's a great concert series. I hope you all had a good time.
It did.
Thank you.
Good summer.
Okay, move on to, I'm sorry. Michelle Benitez, would you like to add something to this?
Good luck to all the kids in school.
Oh, yeah.
My daughter started today, so her senior year, I cried. It's all right. We're all going to be okay. Remember, the bus cameras are out, so be safe, know the rules of the road there, and have a happy and safe Labor Day.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Knowles, Joe, would you like to add something?
I would just add that, good luck to all the students back at school. Be safe, respect the bus stop signs, and have a nice Labor Day. And I will be at the concert on Wednesday night.
So will I.
I got new chairs on discount, so I'll have them all next season too, you know, so I'm
Wow,
looking forward to
what
it.
a guy. See that?
Put discount in.
Any free meals that night, Joe?
Stacy Champion, I'm sorry, Joe, you finished? I'm sorry. I didn't want
Yes,
to
I'm good,
cut
thank
off
you.
with those salient points you're making this evening.
You're welcome.
Stacy Champion,
Here to
please.
please.
Ditto, kids back in school, have
Ditto.
a great, safe Labor Day. We'll be starting September and Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and it's special to my
Yeah.
heart
It is.
for a family member who fought it for 40 years. So let's have a good weekend, safe weekend, and don't forget about the police cameras on the buses.
On the buses, right. Councilman Polari,
Ditto,
Mr. Vice President.
ditto.
Okay, and I'll say, let's have a good evening, enjoy yourself on Labor Day, and the concerts are great, last one you get an opportunity to see, and I don't know who the guests are.
Unforgettable Fire, you too.
And you too, okay, thank you.
U2 band.
All right, okay. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.